All right, let's get into it. Interesting the conversation that LaDainian and Tomlinson had. And it was a lot of great running backs just happened to be having a conversation. LaDainian Tomlinson, one of the guys you covered a lot, Barry Sanders, who had a terrific career. All of them did. And Terrell Davis, 3 Hall of Fame running backs. And Saquon Barkley was with them. And LaDainian Tomlinson, this is according to Yahoo Sports, gave Saquon some interesting advice. Here's what he said to him. He said, think like a basketball player, which means don't be caught up in staying with just one team or saying, oh, I want to be with this team so bad that I'm willing to take less. It's a business at the end of the day. Basketball players, I respect them because LeBron will say, I'm out. This team ain't doing what I need them to do. I'm going over here. And I think sometimes us football players get caught up in, oh, this is a family. If they pay you, then you can believe that. So I thought that was interesting advice, particularly at this day and time because Ezekiel Elliott's holding out for more money. Le'Veon Bell didn't play last year to get his money. Melvin Gordon this year with the Chargers. So what's your take on what LaDainian Tomlinson told Saquon? And let me say this to you, Rob Parker, first. You notice LT gave LeBron props. He gave LeBron. This is another part of LeBron James's legacy. Athletes looking at it like, you know what? Get yours.
Yeah, but
do what you want to do.
There's nothing wrong.
I'm just saying.
There's nothing wrong with moving around. I've always told you that. I'm not against free agency, people moving around. That's your right. That's a part of the collective bargaining agreement. I just don't want where you pile up on teams and there's no competition. That's the only argument I've ever had is beating nobody doesn't – I don't know how you feel good about it. But anyway, LT, I like his whole premise because especially for a running back, especially since we've seen the CBA doesn't work for them, get your money. I love it. And whether or not people ever – you talk about LeBron – that people give Le'Veon Bell some credit and these other guys are looking to see what he did and he was willing to sit out a whole year. And you know how football is, oh, my God, we only have 3.5 years. I can't afford to do this or do that. I think that's opened up some guys' eyes to feel like I want to get paid before I get used up and I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to get paid. So LT gave some good advice. Real quick, Chris. I always thought that LT should have gone by a different nickname.
Because of Lawrence Taylor?
Yes, because to me, there's only one LT.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong on that?
I give you that. His nickname, LT, he's not the best guy with his nickname.
Right.
I mean, nicknames are usually so unique that you're always the best.
Right.
Like Daryl Dawkins is the best Chocolate Thunder.
Right.
Dr. J is the best doctor. Magic's the best. Usually they're so unique.
There's not another Dr. P. Nobody gave somebody else that nickname. And I always thought, I know that those are his initials.
That's the thing. I doubt that was LT kind of claiming that nickname. I think it was just people started calling him that.
But you know what I mean. It's just,
he's not the greatest LT. You're right. When people say LT, they're going to think Lawrence Taylor, not LaDainian Tomlinson.
And I don't know, Chris, if you even know. I covered the Giants during that time. I covered LT. I was like a sidebar and backup Giants writer during that time, during those years. So I got to see them up close.
Yeah, I mean, you know how great he was. He was absolutely the man. But getting back to the advice that LT gave him, yeah, I tend to agree with it. I mean, these teams aren't loyal. Not to quote Chris Brown, but these teams aren't loyal.
Well, especially in football. Football's the worst by far. It's
the worst because they have the worst collective bargaining agreement.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
And they make the least amount of money, which I would argue, and I'm glad all the guys are getting paid, the athletes. But I'd argue, Rob, of all the sports, particularly the 3 main ones, football, basketball, and baseball, the football players should get the most money.
I disagree.
It's the most grueling sport.
I get that, but baseball is more days of revenue as far as, and that's the only difference. I'm not talking about the sport itself.
I'm talking about
revenue days.
The gruesome nature.
I get it.
The most taxing. It's not even close.
But I'm talking about the revenue days that you can have when you talk about a 6-month season every day, a 7-week spring training. I'm just baseball players play a lot.
Which sport generates more money?
Yeah, but that's not the. It's the difference between 11 and 9. But the difference in pay when you look at those two is night and day. That's the difference.
Well, in basketball, it gets the most. I mean, those guys are making the most money. Bryce Harper got and Mike Trout got these huge contracts, but look at the years. Per year, basketball players are making the most. And I just think, they're generating it too. They don't play as many games, obviously, as baseball, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, I do agree with LT. There's no loyalty in sports. These guys aren't going to be loyal to you. He said it. If once you get injured, once your production goes down, they will cut you if you don't have that guaranteed money, or they will trade you and send you packing. Here's where I disagree with him, and I don't even know if this is what he's saying. But I'm saying, and I don't even want to use Zeke as an example, but if I'm on a team where we are a great team, and we have a chance to win championships. And the team, they could give me $20 million. I'm just throwing out numbers for the sake of the example. They could give me $20 million. I want 20, but they're only willing to give me 18. I would be willing to stay with a team where I'm happy, where I like my teammates, where we can win for a couple $1 million less than to go to a bad team just for a couple $1 million more. Now, it's one thing if I want 20 and they're offering 14, 15, that's a big difference, $5 million a year. But if it's a couple $1 million a year, I would rather be in a situation where I'm happy and can win than in a situation where we're just a bad team and I'm really just there for money. If it's close, I would take a little bit less if I had to stay with a winner.
Yeah, I disagree. I want to be paid whatever the scale is.
Well, I'm not saying you're off the scale.
Right. I'm just saying
like Amari Cooper. If he 20 million or 18, 16 to 20 is within scale for him. So if it's 18, I want 20, but they're offering 18. If I love it in Dallas, I got chemistry with Dak. We can win a Super Bowl, I think. I'd rather be there for 18 than go to, say, the Giants or, some other bad team for 20.
Yeah, I don't know. I see people all the time. It just depends on your circumstances. But I just want what I should get. And I think that would determine a lot because I would also look at the team to say, why, if this is the going rate for a star player like me, why are you not willing to pay me that when Joe Blow's getting that at a team, like you say, and this other guy's getting a team, getting that money, but you don't want to pay me, and you use that as an excuse because you need to pay other people. Tom Brady takes less money, but he doesn't get any of the other help that people talk about. How is that something that Tom Brady should be helping when then everybody says he's doing more with less, but he's taking less money? So it would have to be a direct effect that's going to help me do what it is that I want to do, whether or not I would give. Because basically,
I agree with that.
And
I have to look at this. Maybe Rob G can check this out. You're right. The Patriots certainly don't bring in better skilled position players. But what about on the line, on the offensive line? I'd like to see, I don't know offhand, but how much they pay their linemen. Do they pay linemen more? Do they bring in more linemen, second teamers? So if somebody gets hurt, they just went out and got 2 offensive linemen. We know their starting center got hurt.
Right, but I'm just saying the argument always about Brady is that how he does more with less. But he's taking less money. He does less
with skilled position players.
Okay, Rob G's got something.
Okay, Rob G, what's the deal with that?
In percentage of the cap usage, New England Patriots have the 28th highest paid offensive line in football.
Okay, wow. All right.
So they're not even helping Brady there.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
So they're not. I agree with you there. They're not helping him And again, I'm not saying I would be willing to go off my pace, like off market value, like Dak Prescott. Okay, his market value is anywhere from 30 to
40.
35.
Right.
36, you know what I mean? Like, so if it's in that range, it doesn't have to be 35. It could be 32. If I'm happy, if I love the system, if we can win, I'm willing to stay there for that. But yeah, if they go below my market value, they want to pay me 25, that's a whole different story.
Right.
So you're right, though. That's the interesting thing about the Patriots is they have, as much as Brady's taking less money, they haven't used it to go out and get the superstar players
or in front of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
To me, that makes no sense. I think that.
Well, they keep winning though.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's unfair to ask Brady to take a cut when you're not
right.
when you're not using that
there.
money to help him get better. That's all.
I do agree with you there because these billionaires got money to burn. All right, your turn to weigh in, 877-99 on Fox. Should NFL players be willing to take hometown discounts? And here it is. Should loyalty exist in the NFL? Should these players be loyal to these teams to the point of taking less money? We will continue the conversation with you next.
All right, let's start with Charles in Atlanta. You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Charles?
Hey, what's going on, Rob and Chris, man? How's you guys doing today?
Man,
great,
all
man.
good.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Chris, man, I really enjoy you on First Things First, man. You need to be on there more often, man.
Hey, Charles.
Thanks, my brother.
Yeah, can you get off the speakerphone or whatever? Put the phone to you.
He lounging on this sofa like 10 feet away from the speaker.
It just doesn't sound good on
Go
the
ahead,
radio.
man.
You got
What's
it?
your point?
Oh,
You there?
Call
Charles?
back. We lost him. Call back.
All right.
Marty in Kentucky, you're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
Hey, how's it going, fellas? How you doing this Thursday?
We're
What's
doing
happening,
great.
man? We're great.
It's Party Hardy Marty.
That's right. I'm going to give you an opinion, and I hope this never happens because I'm such a football fan. I'd hate to have it happen. But when I look at things, I always try to put myself in other people's shoes. And the players should not take discounts. In fact, if I were the players, they should unite and strike because they're not getting the piece of the pie that they should get. And they need to wait till that salary cap goes up and rookie running backs' contracts are restructured. And that's how I feel if I'm in their shoes.
Marty,
I think you're right on the money.
Chris and I agree with you 100%. And the only way, you got to be willing to fight and give up something to get something, Chris. It's real simple.
You're right. And I do agree. I mean, we both do with Marty. Look, they're getting 47% of football income, football revenue. And as you and I have said, Rob, that doesn't even include everything.
No, it doesn't include all the luxury suites and a lot of the other big money that's not in the mix, so they don't get it.
They should be getting at least 50% of everything. The NBA players get 50%. And I think more of their stuff is included in the basketball-related income than in the NFL. Here's the challenge, though, and as much as I agree with you, Rob and Marty, the challenge is this for football. It is different. Baseball, I know I can if I'm a decent player, I can have a longer career. Basketball, I can have a longer career. Football, I can be a solid player and maybe still only play 4 years. Get hurt. You know what I mean? Like the window, and even if you're, for the most part, the better players, your careers aren't quite as long as the other sports just because it's so physical. So I do get it from that standpoint. But at the end of the day, they got to make a standard. They complain. I've talked to the NFL players, and they look at these contracts that's just a mediocre player in the NBA will get $80 million, $90 million. And they got stars getting less than that in the NFL.
Right.
And
they might be getting 36 guaranteed. Yeah. That's all it is. And the bottom line, though, Chris, and I understand about the short careers and whatnot, but if you stick together and shut down the game as a whole, they can't penalize the lesser guys. Do you see what I'm saying? But you got to be united. You got to all be there together. Taylor in Nebraska, you're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Taylor?
Hey, gentlemen. How's it going?
Man,
what's
great.
happening?
Good. All right. So this is more of a radical idea. How about no salary cap at all across all professional sports?
Well, there's none in baseball.
Right, baseball. You see, I mean,
Right.
but they got the revenue sharing with the TV.
Right.
So, I do think that salary caps can be a good thing. I mean, if you didn't have salary caps in the NBA, the Knicks and the Lakers might have. I mean, you think it's been lopsided the past few years, Rob? I mean, if there's no salary cap, then I think it could really be lopsided and just destroy some of these smaller market teams.
Well, I don't think that this really necessary. Everybody has a limit. You know what I mean? Whether it's stated or not. The only reason salary caps came into play was owners were trying to police themselves. They didn't want the other owners. I agree with that. They didn't want the other owners to up the market. So they put caps on it so that one guy doesn't blow the market out of the water by offering a guy too much money, and then they have to own up to pay their own guys. And the same thing.
But you see it, Rob. A lot of people complain, and I used to feel this way the past couple decades. I felt this way about the Yankees. I didn't blame the Yankees because they weren't breaking the rules, but I just felt like it was unfair. I mean, they could spend so much more money than some of these smaller market teams. And I know you're going to shoot back, but the Yankees didn't win it every year. You had Kansas City. You've had these other teams come out. But I could say the same thing about the NBA the last few years. But I could say Cleveland won one, Dallas won one in the Big Three era, obviously San Antonio, Toronto. But so those things happen. Like, I get what you're saying, Rob, even though we argue about it. When you say it's been lopsided in the NBA and Golden State had all the talent or Cleveland had all the talent, I get where you're coming from, but I can still push back and say these other teams did win titles, but it's still the feeling overall was that these few teams were the only ones that could win. And I think it's been that way in baseball for a while because a lot of times these teams that they groom these young players in their own system, but then when it comes time for them to be a free agent, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, one of these big market teams swoops in and picks them up.
But the only thing, and this is the last thing I'll say on this, the only thing to push back on that is that when you look at the highest contracts ever signed in baseball, the Yankees haven't signed any of them. It was the Rangers with A-Rod. It was the Anaheim Angels. It was the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, they don't own any of them. Even with the outfield was hurt. Stanton, he signed that with Miami. The Yankees haven't signed
but it didn't work out for those teams.
But I'm just saying,
and then the Yankees swooped in and we can handle that salary.
But you know what I'm saying? but they didn't sign any of those deals. You would think that the Yankees would because they have way more money than everybody, but ultimately they haven't.
But you see their payroll though.
No, it's over. It's $200 million, but it's not ridiculous for a team that the amount of money that they earn.